So today we will learn to identify preverbal schemas and to work with them with imagery based on procedural memory, not on episodic memories, but on procedural memories. I will stop for a moment just to explain what is procedural memory. Procedural memory is learning how to, remembering how to do things, okay? So I remember how to drive. That's my procedural memory, but I also remember how I learned to drive. That's my episodic memory. I remember the teacher. I remember sitting in the car. That's episodic memory. I I remember how to walk, but I can't remember how I learned how to walk, okay? Because I was very young. So I have only the procedural memory. Now, you will learn from this very short presentation that I'm from a kibbutz, that is a rural community in Israel. When I was born, um, when I was born, it was still the case there that babies did not sleep with their parents. They slept in common rooms, uh, babies together, toddlers together, children at a certain age together, with one person in the that takes care of all the children. So I have learned procedurally not to call anyone by night because nobody will come. I still do it. I only realized after I got married that my husband wakes me up at night. Oh, I'm feeling bad. Oh, I had a bad dream. I was looking at him amazed. What do you want me to do? I mean, why are you waking me up? What is this? Okay, so what you need to know also is that when I was 2.5 years old, this thing ended, and children began to sleep with their parents in kibbutzim in Israel. So I have no episodic memory of this, but I have the procedural memory that says there's nobody there for you at nighttime. I'm a very trusting person by day, but I will never wake anybody up at night unless I woke my husband twice, my ex-husband twice, when I had to give birth. I thought that was a good enough reason because he had there was something that needed to be done. So another example for that would be I could have had maybe a grandmother that was violent and died when I was 2. And I don't remember her, but I remember to be careful from older women. Okay, so I have a procedural memory that taught me to be afraid of women. I know how to be careful. I know how to suspect women, although I don't remember my grandmother. Okay, so it's a procedural memory that is not accompanied necessarily by an episodic memory. And sometimes my parents told me, "Oh, your grandmother raised you. She was a terrible person." But sometimes they don't. Sometimes they tell me, "Oh, she was a great person. Oh, there was nobody like her." And I don't know where my fears stem from. I don't know. I don't remember. Or they don't tell me my mother had depression after birth. They never diagnosed it. So I don't know why I feel alone. I feel abandoned. I don't trust women. I don't know. But my procedural memory kicks in when I have a boss or when I meet an older woman. My procedural memory kicks in and say, don't trust this person. You have to take care of her. She will never take care of you. Okay, so we will learn how to do imagery work with that. If we have the time. I'm not sure. Okay, we'll do our best. Um, mm, mm, mm. Yeah. Okay, let's start with identification, because of course we can't do anything unless we identify that we're standing in front of a preverbal experience. But first, let's talk about three cases that we have in this sense. One is continuity. A certain childhood deprivation develops out of a similar infantile deprivation or preverbal deprivation, baby deprivation. Since the circumstances have not changed over this period of time, the parents stayed the same parents. For example, a neglected baby becomes a neglected toddler, and then a neglected child and a neglected teenager. The schema is the same schema, but the imprints on the developing brain change according to age, just as a certain need. For example, attention takes different forms at the age of 10 days and at the age of 10 years. Okay, so it looks different. Sometimes, on the other hand, we have an infantile need satisfaction. We have a happy baby that is replaced by later deprivation. For example, in the case of a loss of a parent, but also in the milder case, some parents are just better fitted to be parents for babies and not for older children. But in this case, we would expect some resilience to be preserved despite the trauma. Okay, sometimes it doesn't have to be that there's something happened to the parent. It could be, of course, that a war started off or an illness or whatever. But there was a happy baby, and then so we have preverbal positive schemas that create some kind of resilience, and then we have the trauma. But the trauma is on the base of some resilience, and it would therefore be, we expect it to be milder than this one. All right. And the third case is an infantile deprivation changes for the better, okay, in the following years. For example, a mother recovering from postpartum depression. So my mother was depressed when I was born, but then she recovered, and now I have a very engaged mother. In these cases, there would usually be some reparation of the maladaptive infantile schema, okay, some compensation, but we don't know the extent, okay? It's determined by the severity of the early deprivation, how severe, how terrible was the early schema, and the fullness of the later compensation. My depressed mother, when she's not depressed, could be a wonderful mother, but could be an okay mother. So it depends.